Hayes here, talking about Season 3 premiere, The Chrystal Empire. We're going to go the good, the bad, and some little something extra. Good, I liked the tone of the show. I liked how they're bringing in the sisters. They're giving Twilight something to overcome. They're starting to set a precedent. The whole thing, some people on the after show called it plot holes or unresolved things. I see this as more them setting up this series to be a continuing story. Personally, I really like when a TV show is one continuous story and it starts with last week on and it ends with to be continued, because it rewards you for your loyalty, it rewards you for tuning in, it rewards you for investing your time in the franchise and being part of the fan community. So, in my way of thinking, that's the best way to do a TV show. Not that there's anything wrong with having a lot of episodes, a lot of character-driven stories, as long as they're good stories, which is what the show is. But if this really is setting up the idea that every episode is going to start building on the previous episode, I am way behind that. You know, knock on wood. I hope that happens. If not, the show is already great the way it used to be, and if it continues on like that, that's okay too. Pre-title sequence in this episode, we're given a reference to Shining Armor and Princess Cadance. You know, it's nice to have them incorporated into the story. It's not like, okay, we sold the toy set, now they don't exist anymore. It was nice to see them back. It was nice to see them worked into the structure of the story. Luna didn't do a lot in the episode, no, but Luna was there, and it kind of gives the impression that she's going to have a lot more to do, which is, yay! Let's hope. Come on, that'd be great. I laughed out loud at a couple points. And also I think the mechanics, I think this idea that you're being sent on a test, and you need to overcome something, we're not going to explicitly tell you, it's a blind test. They don't exactly tell you what you're testing. And I found that it was good to see Twilight, who is one of my favorite ponies, really be giving a test and then overcoming that test. And you could say that the test was to save the Empire or whatever, but the real test was kind of her learning to think outside the box. She's a very in-the-box kind of thinker. And even as she was encountering real-life problems, she was putting them into her box. She was thinking, okay, we need to do reconnaissance, we need to find out more, and she just instantly thinks, oh, it's a research paper, By the end of the episode, she kind of just realizes to just, chill the F out, okay? She kind of grows, and it's like, when push comes to shove, being practical is more important than doing things to the letter. So even though she didn't solve the problem to the letter, how she was told to solve the problem, she still got the job done. So she grew. The Twilight, at least at the beginning of this episode, wouldn't have done what the Twilight at the end of the episode did. So character growth, always good. Okay, the bad. Not much of a villain. There have been some really great villains in the show. I think that was really a strength. This villain was... It was a non-character. It was just an evil black force. It was literally a dark shadow on the horizon that was giving urgency to what was going on in the Chrystal Empire. And that's okay. That's okay sometimes. They could have done more, but, sometimes the story is about, what the heroes are doing, and the evil to be overcome is just the evil to be overcome. Sometimes that happens. If they bring Sombre back, give him some quirks, give him some characters, some dialogue, maybe a quirky sidekick, hey, that'd be fine. That would be great. Then again, that would be part of a show that builds on itself every episode. But, like I said before, I'm not holding my breath, but that would be nice. Twilight was a little unlikable in this episode. I mean, the way she was putting everything into her little boxes, and the way she was so straight-laced in her being tested, it was in character, but it wasn't likable. You know, if you were to start watching the show on this episode, I don't think Twilight Sparkle would be your favorite pony. And I'm a big Twilight fan, so that's never good for me. You know, it's nice that she learned to grow and, you know, learn some new abilities, grew as a character, that's great, but kind of annoying at the beginning of the episode. Okay, some fun things. I found this pretty funny. I liked how Rarity and all the other ponies were given this task to distract the Chrystal ponies from the obvious impending darkness just on the horizon that is about to envelop them all. It's like, don't look at that. Basket! Baskets are awesome! And baskets are awesome. And it's good because that's a reference to the fact back in the episode Winter Wrap-Up, Rarity does know basket weaving. So that was good to keep in that continuity. And the part in the library where they talk to the librarians, like, okay, we need the book on history. It's like, okay. And there's this long, awkward pause. It's like, do you know where the book is? Like, no, I'm not even sure I work here. Also, I like the construction of the plot. A lot of plots fall apart where characters just do stupid things, and they know better, but they do stupid things anyway. Maybe I watch too many horror movies. In this, there really is no information. I mean, urgent things happen, bad things happen because they literally don't have the information they need, and they only get it. The information only presents itself at the 11th hour, at the most critical moment. Okay, so I think that is a good way to construct a plot, because otherwise, in order to make things urgent at the 11th hour, you have to have a smart character do something stupid. I'm just going to put this out there. The whole episode reminded me a lot of this old 1950s B movie called The Monolith Monsters. It's a movie from the era of, oh, it's a giant tarantula, it's a giant scorpion, it's a giant X. You know, giant thing attacks small town, etc., etc. And there was one called The Monolith Monsters where the monster was just big crystals. The crystals did nothing but grow like 20 stories tall. And then they fell over because they collapsed under their own weight. And that was the monster. Giant crystals that just grew really tall and then fell over on your house. Literally, I mean, it's not even alive. It's a chemical process. That's the giant monster. And that movie I always found that hilarious because it was so silly, even for a giant monster movie. And when I saw those big black crystals imposing on the city that didn't do anything, I mean, that was it. It started out as a dark cloud, and then there were just these dark crystals. But that's all they were. The dark crystals didn't do anything. They just stood there. And so when these big dark crystals started looming over the town, I couldn't stop thinking about the monolith monsters. Well, anyway, I think this is a good start. Like, again, I hope that this sets a precedent for a show that starts to build on itself every episode. But even if it doesn't, if they just give us a good solid episode every week, that's still great too. Here's to hoping that we see more Luna, we see more villains, we get to see more character growth, more of all this good stuff in the future. I'll see you next week at 10:30 a.m.